Guys, welcome back to Southern Extreme TV. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a custom rifle build chambered in 7mm PRC from Night Stalker Precision. Really excited about it, so let's get into it. So thanks for hanging out with me on my channel. If you are new to Southern Extreme TV, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are trying to grow this thing to 100,000 subs, so every click gets me just a little bit closer. Let's talk about today this 7mm PRC rifle. If you guys are or have been around the shooting industry or the shooting world, you know that the 7mm PRC kind of jumped in and has somewhat taken the precision rifle world to the next level. There's a lot of hype around this bullet. There's a lot of hype around that round because it kind of gives a little bit of the best of both worlds. You are able to shoot this rifle at a very long distance. You're able to get really good ballistics out of it. You're able to shoot a heavy bullet. So for people who are hunting big game like elk, mule deer, bear, things along those lines, you have that really strong knockdown power, but then you get the really great ballistic coefficient of a 7mm bullet, which is a very, very big deal. One downside to the 7mm PRC, which is typically the case whenever you see any type of newer cartridge coming onto the market, is the ammunition availability. Right now, the 7 PRC is starting to pick up in popularity. So you're starting to see that ammo price somewhat come down a little bit. However, it's still a larger, more Magnum style cartridge, which burns a lot of power. It's got a big brass, big casing, and a bigger bullet. So the price point is going to be a little bit higher than what you're going to see with a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 308, something that's very mass produced that people buy a lot of. You just got to understand that going into this, but I'm really excited about it because I've never shot a 7 PRC. I've seen a lot of hype around the gun, around the cartridge, and whenever I come to Night Stalker Precision to kind of put this rifle together, we come up with some different ideas, and we were able to kind of partner with some really, really awesome manufacturers to help kind of make this rifle come alive. So I want to talk about some of the components that are going into this rifle. We'll talk about what I like about them, what maybe I don't like about them, and then at the end of the video we'll jump into an accuracy test with the Precision Hunter from Hornady 175 grain ELDX. So I'm really excited to see how well this bullet right here is going to group. But let's talk about the gun, let's talk about the components, and do a quick introduction, and then we'll get to the accuracy. So for the barrel, we have an OMR barrel. This is an Oregon Mountain Rifle Company carbon fiber barrel. I'm really excited to test this barrel out because over the last probably 4 to 5 years, you have started seeing that trend of carbon fiber barrels really explode, and the niche behind the carbon barrel used to be really, really small. There was only a couple manufacturers that were doing them. Now you're starting to see a lot of people coming and bringing carbon barrels to the table, and I'm really excited to test this specific barrel out, mainly because they are such an affordable carbon fiber barrel, and they have a sub MOA guarantee, which is a very big deal. So if you can get the carbon, the lightweight features of a carbon barrel, you get the sub MOA guarantee, and then you get a really good price point for one of these barrels. I think that these barrels are sub $1,000. I think you can get this barrel for anywhere from, I want to say, don't hold me to it, I think around that $800 price point, and it might be $900, it might be $700, but somewhere around $800 you can get a full carbon fiber barrel, which is a really big deal because you get the weight reduction of a carbon fiber barrel, and then it just flat out looks good, guys. At the end of the day, I want a rifle that performs, but I do want a rifle that looks good as well because I'm putting my investment in it. I want to be happy with the build. So OMR barrel, super excited to be testing this thing out. It is matched up with a Kelbele's Atlas Light action. Now, that I am very, very excited about. I have been fortunate enough to run several different actions over the last couple years, especially on the custom side of things. And to be honest with you, just the little bit that I've spent behind this Kelbele's action, I am very, very impressed. I'm super excited to run it. It's a very smooth action. It is a very good looking action. And then most of all, obviously it's in the light, it's the Atlas light. It is a lightweight action. So when you're investing money into these rifles, obviously, unless you're going to be on the precision rifle circuit where you're actually going and shooting competitions, those guys typically like a rifle that's a little bit on the heavier side, just for that recoil mitigation perspective. But for somebody like me, where I'm going to be going out into the woods, I'm going to be carrying this gun hunting, I want a lighter rifle because it's easier to carry, it's more enjoyable to carry, and having a really nice custom action that is lightweight but smooth, very, very smooth. That's what I've got to have. Now, this action does have a 90-degree throw. You do have the ability to order a 70-degree throw, which, to be honest with you, I think I would probably prefer a little bit better. After running the, I think it's the Aero Precision Solus action, which has got the 70-degree throw, I've somewhat come accustomed to liking that less travel path, that shorter travel distance in working that bolt. Plus, it frees up if you have a big adjustment knob for your zoom or for your magnification on your scope. It just prevents any type of clutter or I guess interference, if you will, with the action and your optics. So they do offer that in two ways. I think that would probably be the one thing that I would change about this gun, is changing out this actual bolt to a 70-degree throw in lieu of the 90. But it's not a make or break because the action is still super lightweight and it's super smooth. So everything else about it is absolutely fantastic. Let's talk about the chassis. This is a Ultradyne chassis, and if you've kept up with the channel, you have seen us testing out and using some of the Ultradyne stuff. I've got a little 16.5-inch 308 gun that is in a burnt bronze Cerakoted color from Ultradyne, and it is the 5-slot M-LOK chassis, which is just a little bit shorter of a handguard. With this one, I elected to go with their longer handguard, which has got 7 slots, I believe, and it just fits the rifle really, really well. I decided to go with their, I think this is their Sniper Gray color, which is a really good look because I was going to pair it with a tracked optic scope. You've already got the kind of gray accent from the carbon in the carbon fiber barrel. And then having all of that gray and kind of black just tying in together made this gun turn out beautifully. I really am a fan of the Ultradyne chassis because they're lightweight, they're rugged, they're durable. They've got a built-in ARCA, which you can see here. So this tripod features a ARCA plate. This has got a ARCA rail that is built in, and the reason that that's a big deal is you don't have to have a separate mounting plate right here where your hand typically goes if you're carrying this gun through the woods, because that can be just a little uncomfortable. Having that full-length ARCA rail allows you to just simply put it into a ARCA mount on a tripod, and you're locked in, good to go. This rifle is not going anywhere. So I really like the fact that the ARCA is built into this chassis system. It's lightweight. You can get it in a multitude of different Cerakote colors. So it's a really very impressive chassis system for what you're getting with the money. I elected to go with the adjustable stock from Ultradyne. So this has got a length of pull adjustment as well as a comb height adjustment as well. They do offer a stock that does not have those adjustments, that's a little bit lighter, but to me, I think you're only losing or gaining 4 to 5 ounces between this stock and the other stock. So to me, having those adjustments on this stock was probably worth a little bit of extra added weight on this rifle. I've got the gray Hogue overmold grip that's going onto this. So the cool thing about this chassis is any of your favorite AR-10 or AR-15 grips that you like, that you're used to running, you can put it onto this chassis system. So that way you have kind of a very familiar feel to some of your other rifles if that's what you're running already, which us, for our Coyote rounds and our Coyote guns, as well as some of my other deer hunting rifles that are on chassis systems as well, I'm running the Hogue overmold grip, and the good thing is it just feels home. It feels like home to me because I'm used to running it. So really enjoy that platform. Awesome setup. Trigger is a TriggerTech Diamond. If you've kept up and you've been watching some of the reviews on these custom rifles, I talk very highly of the TriggerTech Diamond, and it's because just flat out, it's probably the best trigger that I've shot. Not saying that there might not be a better trigger out there on the market. It's just that if there is, I haven't personally shot it. So I've got now 4 rifles, I believe, that have the Trigger Tech Diamond in it. Guffey has 2 rifles with this exact same trigger in it because he likes them so much. So you can save a little bit of money going with a cheaper trigger. However, if you're going to take the time and the money and the investment to put into this nice of a rifle setup, don't cheap out on a trigger. Make sure that you get a real good trigger that's got a good clean, crisp break, and you guys are going to enjoy it as much as I do. Magazine, I did swap out the mag. I think the chassis system came with a metal magazine, and the one thing that I was not a crazy fan of was there was a lot of metal rattling in here. Now, when you get the magazine loaded, obviously it's creating some downward tension and some downward pressure, so that rattle is not quite as audible. However, I just wanted to eliminate that completely. And I elected to go with the Magnum LR from Magpul, and it helped eliminate a lot of that noise issue. Optics, again, tracked optics. I know I'm beating this dead horse to death, but if you do not know who tracked optics is, do yourself a favor. Go take a look at what they got, what they're offering, and what they're doing, and you guys are going to be impressed, because this is, I believe, my 4th or 5th tracked optic scope. I've got a set of binos that I carry with me every single day when I'm out in the woods deer hunting. It is hands down the clearest glass that I have had the luxury of being able to use on the market, and they're doing it arguably at a better price point than what some of the bigger name brand manufacturers are doing, like Zeiss and Swarovski, those type of, or that caliber of glass. These guys are doing it at a fraction of the cost. So really excited to be testing this scope out. This is their new Hunt series scope. So it's got the exposed turrets where you can pull up and pull it up and it unlocks the turret. You mash it down and it locks it back in place. You've got an illuminated reticle, you've got your parallax adjustment, but then what I really like is over here on the right, your windage adjustment is actually capped. So very rarely are people that are in a real hunting situation, are you dialing for windage. Typically, you're just gonna, if you're shooting at that far of a distance, usually you have some type of Christmas tree reticle, or you have some type of reticle reference for a hold over left or right for whatever the wind is doing. Very rarely are people actually dialing this down in a hunting situation. So I like the fact that this is capped, because it just prevents, when you're carrying the gun in and out of the woods, it prevents that from getting bumped or turned, where you may lose your true zero on the rifle in a hunting situation. So really excited about the scope. Scope's very clear, and then really and truly the best part about it is it ties in beautifully with this rifle. You've got the sniper gray looking color from Ultradyne, you've got the gray Hogue grip, you've got the tracked optic scope, which is gray, and then through tracked you can actually get scope rings that match the color of the scope. So these are actually manufactured from MDT, so they're really high-end scope rings that you can get through tracked as well. So very awesome setup. I'm super excited to be putting this thing on the range today and shooting it for the first time. So I'm gonna shut up. Let's shoot this freaking gun, because I am super pumped about it. I do have the Garmin chronograph set up. Once I get this thing somewhat bore-sighted and zeroed in, we're gonna do four groupings. I've got 20 rounds of ammunition. Now, again, like I said earlier, these bullets are rather expensive, so we're going to try to make every round count and make sure that we're doing the best we can to put shots downrange where they need to go. So we're going to chrono the gun. We're going to do four different groupings, let you guys take a look at it, and let's see exactly what this gun can do. All right. So we have shot this thing 2 times, sorry, just twice. Tried to get it somewhat close to somewhere in the vicinity of the bullseye. Again, we can make some micro adjustments with this thing later on down the road, but our biggest thing right now is just testing out these new Hornady Precision Hunters in a 175 grain. Right now, the 2 shots that I made, I did have the chronograph on, which obviously the more we shoot, the better these numbers are going to get for a true average, but right now we're averaging basically right at 2,800 foot per second. We're 2,795 on an average. The minimum is 2,793 and the max is 2,796. So that variance right there is pretty good. But again, that's only between 2 shots. We need to shoot several more rounds to get a true idea and feel for what this gun is capable of doing with this bullet. So we've got 3 bullets. We're going to do 3-shot group, 3-shot group, 3-shot group, and a 3-shot group, and just see what type of groupings we can get out of this gun. So really excited to be trying this thing out. All right, so little problem there with the feeding on that magazine. Not sure what that was about, but. All right, guys, quick break to the video. Basically, I had issues with what I thought was with the magazine or with the chassis and the feeding, and I figured out what the issue was. I reached out to Joe, owner at Ultradyne, after I filmed the video, showed him what was going on, and he informed me, because I'm a little slow, that there is an adjustable mag latch. So right here is how you detach your magazine. If you see, there's a little Allen key here. If you loosen that Allen key, this piece slides up and down, and what that allows you to do is to adjust how much pressure is put onto this magazine. So once I went inside, I was working on editing, and I took the Allen key and adjusted that set so that it's as tight as it'll go. And now, see if you guys can see, there's a bullet. It's picking up the rounds. Ejection. Oh, here we go. Picking up another round. So we've got a fully functioning magazine, mag well, and action. So not anything against the action, not anything against the magazines, not anything against the chassis. It was just me being a little slow redneck and not realizing that there was an adjustment there. So back to the video. Disregard any issues I had with this because we got it fixed. Let's go top left corner to start with. 3 shots. And see if I cannot mess this up. We don't have the luxury of sending a whole bunch of rounds like we do if we're shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor or a 308. These bullets are relatively expensive, so we've got to be mindful about making these shots. So top left corner, 3 shots. Okay. So I'm not wanting to pick up a bullet here. So I'm having some issues with this mag, like this mag is not really wanting to work with this action or with this chassis system. So I don't really know. It looks like I can give it pressure. So I can give the magazine some pressure and it'll pick another round up, but not just working it. So I may have to go back to that full metal magazine to actually get this to work. First shot, pretty much dead center of the bullseye. We can keep that trend right there up. It's gonna make me feel good. 2 more shots. I held low. I pulled low on that. I know I did. Gosh darn it, Blake. That shot was on me. I knew I was low when it went off. It's still MOA right there, but that shot was on me. All right, 3rd shot. So that one was a touch low. Okay. So recoil on the 7 PRC, obviously this gun is a relatively light gun. The recoil on this thing is definitely going to be a lot more substantial than what your 308 or 6.5 Creeds are, even with the suppressor out on the end. But again, you're talking about a really big round that, you know, we're shooting down range. Not so much that I think that it's just blowing me back or something that I would be scared to shoot by any stretch, because again, this is a hunting rifle. This is not a competition rifle. And recoil is relatively mitigated. To me, with the suppressor on it, the longer barrel, the heavier mag, to me it feels like it reminds me of what a 270 feels like if you're just shooting a normal mom and pop type of 270 that's designed for hunting without a muzzle brake or without a suppressor on the end of it. That's very similar to what the recoil is. But again, not anything remotely close to a 6.5 Creed or a 308 that's suppressed. Definitely more than that. But it's smooth for a Magnum caliber. So let's go 3 more shots. We'll have to go 3 shots here, and then we're probably gonna have to let the barrel cool, because again, we just, you know, we're burning a whole lot of powder right there. And we just don't wanna get it too hot. We want it to be a true representation. So 3 more shots. Top right corner. Okay. So that's got a good look up and down wise. See, I don't know why. It's like there's not enough. I don't think that magazine is designed to go in this gun. So I don't know exactly what the deal is there, but I'm definitely having some issues with this mag. I might have to go swap out into that metal magazine and see if that solves the issue. All right, 1 shot, 2 more. There we go. And again, too, one thing to keep in mind with this is that this is a brand new barrel. This barrel has never been shot before. So really and truly, you know, this should arguably be the worst groups that this gun ever shoots until, you know, because as you shoot these carbon barrels, a lot of times the more you shoot them, the more accurate that they get. So those 2 holes look a lot better. Let's go 1 more shot here in that top right corner. Yeah, that's better. That's way better right there. Way, way better. All right, so while we're letting on this barrel cool, I'm gonna go swap out this magazine for the metal one to see if that solves the issue that we got. And just a quick update on the chronograph. We are averaging 2781 with a maximum of 2805. So we had one of those bullets that had a really big deviation. And then we had one all the way down at 2756 as the minimum with an average of 2781. So the variance there is relatively large, you know, almost 50 foot per second. Exactly 50 foot per second variance between those rounds, which that's not great. So I'd be excited to see what somebody like the 1776 has got going on. I'd like to see what the somebody like 1776 ammo and test theirs as well to see what their variance is going to be, because I bet their tolerances are going to be just a little bit better. But let's let this thing cool down for just a little bit. Let's go swap those magazines and we'll shoot those last groups. All right, guys, let's shoot these last groups. I went and got the metal magazine and still the same issue. I don't know if this is a problem. There's like a little gap where if I apply pressure up, it's almost like, I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but my action is going over the top of my bullets. So not really sure what's going on, but I can apply pressure from the bottom side and that one won't even feed. So let's take the metal one out and let's get the P-mag back, because at least the P-mag was feeding when I would apply some pressure. Okay, I went in that time. Don't really know what's going on there. I'll have to check in with you guys. I'll put a comment down below once I figure out what the issue is here. But let's go bottom left corner, 3-shot group. Last shot, last groupings were fantastic. Definitely sub MOA. So let's see if we can keep that same trend going here. Bottom left corner. Okay. Trending kind of on that left edge, but that's okay. We can make that little bit of adjustment. All right, there's a hole in a hole, baby. Holy crap. Now, if you ain't okay with that type of group right there, I don't know what you can be, what else you can expect. I don't know. I don't know what you call it if you put 3 holes in one hole. I don't know what MOA that would be. We're gonna try to do it right here though. Come on, Blake, don't mess this group up. Holy crap, holy. That right there, ladies and gents, that is a dang group for you. Oh my Lord. Average foot per second, 2781. The 2756 is still the slowest, and the 2806 is still the fastest. So whatever happened between them two bullets, I don't know, but right around 2780 is where we're setting foot per second wise. That right there is a really good group. A very, very, very good group. Let's shoot the last 3. I'm gonna get 3 more bullets out. That's gonna be a tough group right there to overcome, because I don't necessarily know how you can get any better than 3 shots all in the same hole. But we're gonna try to do it. We'll see if we can just duplicate it. If I can duplicate those groupings, that's the telltale sign. I can get balanced here. All right, last group. Okay. Just gonna hand feed these right here, see how it does. Action is fantastic. Kelbley's action is unbelievable. Probably the best action I own. Not quite touching. Double check this old hush hush can on the front. All right, last set, or not last set, last bullet. Let's see what we can do. Yeah. Boys and girls, that right there is a very, very good shooting rifle. Fantastic shooting rifle. Just got to figure out what's going on with the magazines with this thing. Not exactly sure what's going on there. If we've got an issue with the action, if we got an issue with the chassis, or if we got an issue with the magazine. I took a video of it and I sent it over to Night Stalker Precision, so we'll get their feedback, and I'll drop a comment down below and let you guys know what's going on. But let's go get this target and let's take a look at these groups. Let's talk about some accuracy. And ladies and gents, this gun is accurate. First shot group was probably greater than MOA. However, number one, it's the first time I've ever shot the gun. Number two, it's a brand new carbon fiber barrel, never been shot before, so nobody ever takes the first couple groups or the first 3 or 4 shots and kind of holds the gun to that, because clearly you go to the next grouping and you've got 3 holes touching right here, which is unbelievable. But then it gets even better. We go from the second group where we are probably, I'm gonna say we're probably quarter MOA. No, probably not quarter. We're probably 0.5 MOA right there. Yeah, it's not quite a quarter, probably 0.5 if I was a betting man. But then you get on down here to group number 3. And I'll just be honest with y'all, I've never had a group where I've shot 3 holes or 3 shots in the same daggum hole. I mean, legitimately, let you guys see on this second angle in here, that right there is 3 shots. That is 3 shots right there. 1, 2, 3. Now y'all be the judge and tell me what you would score that right there as. Now obviously we're trending on the left, kind of lower left hand edge of the bullseye, which I can make that adjustment with this scope once I start getting my bullet and everything dialed in for exactly what I want. And in the last grouping, we're definitely sub MOA. You're probably, it might be a little bit greater than 0.5 MOA. You're probably about that 0.7-ish MOA, probably a little bit better than 3/4, right at 3/4 MOA. So again, the gun is capable of doing groups better than what the shooter is able to do, clearly, because if I can put 3 holes all in the same hole, the gun is capable of doing that. The other shots, there could be variances in the temperature of the barrel, there could be variances in myself, more than likely in myself as the shooter, but nonetheless, this gun is a absolute shooter. And it is smooth to shoot. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen a 7mm PRC round, but it's a relatively, try to get up here, it's a relatively large, fat round. It's got a lot of powder. It's moving a big projectile. And so you're gonna get a little bit of recoil out of a gun like this. But with a gun that is super lightweight, I mean, very lightweight, with a suppressor on it, because again, you always have the ability to shoot it without a suppressor if you want to. The gun does not kick, and that's a very big deal, because that is going to allow you to enjoy your days at the range shooting the gun. It's going to allow you to really get the feel of the gun, learn what the gun is doing, learn how it shoots, and really get it dialed in without it feeling like you're just taking a beating every time you go to the range. So really impressed with the way that this thing performed. The action, I know I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the action on this thing is super smooth. Again, this Atlas light, blown away by it. The next gun build that I do will probably feature this Kelbele's Atlas light, and it will probably, the only difference, and I mentioned it earlier, is this 90-degree throw I will probably do away with, and I'll probably go with the 70. I'm a big fan of the 70 degrees. I just think that it's just easier, shorter to run, and then like I said, it doesn't get into hitting you on your scope or your optic. It just eliminates all of that as an issue. But what an absolutely beautiful gun. What a beautiful shooting gun on top of that, because the gun is doing exactly what it was born to do, and that's flat out shoot. Really appreciate y'all hanging out with me on my channel and spending some time here with me today. I love doing these gun reviews and accuracy review videos for y'all. Really fun, really enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see y'all on the next episode.